Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, family. Welcome to House of Restoration, Remnant House, witnesses of Yahuwah YouTube channel, as we gather here today again on the Sabbath day gathering to talk about the spirit of deception part 2. And as we talk about the spirit of deception, we talked a little bit last week about how you had the Jezebel spirit, which was the seducer. You had the pride spirit of Leviathan, and then you had the pharisaical spirit of hypocrite. And so we're going to look at how the king over them, the ruler over them, because remember, Yahusha said the ruler of this world comes, right? Yeah. And so as we look that up, John 14 and 30. So as we look at this, we see that Hasatan, and why do I call him Hasatan? He's the adversary. He works against us, all right? So he said, hereafter I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world, look at that, the prince of this world comes and has nothing in me, all right? But that the world may know that I love the Father, and as the Father gave me commandment, even so I do. Arise, let us go hence. So therefore, when Yahushua said, if you love me, keep my commandments, what we are working on here as we walk in this life that we live in is to abide by Yah's commandments by not being deceived. What does the word deceive mean? It means to make someone believe something that is not true. And so all throughout these centuries, Hasatan, the adversary, Hillel, oh, y'all haven't heard that name before? Well, that's one of his names. Hillel, Mastema. He has been causing a rampage all throughout the earth. Why is that? Why has he been doing that? Because he seeks to separate whom he can from Yahusha. Why? Because he's the accuser of the brethren day and night. Did you know that? He's the accuser of the brethren day and night. Let's look at it in Revelation real quick. And then we're going to jump right through some scripture. You might not have certain things in your book, but guess what? I'm going to plaster it to that screen so you can see what we're talking about here on the Sabbath day gathering. So look, Revelation chapter 12, verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceives the whole world. Listen to that. He deceives the whole world. Do you see that? He's the deceiver. He's the one behind the spirit of deception. It said he deceives the whole world. He was cast out into the earth. Remember, Yahushua said that he beheld Satan being cast down to the earth as lightning. You remember that? And he called the devil and Satan, which deceives the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Remember, 1/3 went with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our Yah, and the power of his Mashiach, or his Messiah. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our Yah day and night. And listen to this, though. So even though he accuses, right, he brings accusations against us, because what is he doing along the way of bringing those accusations? He sends forth his little powers and principalities to first try to deceive us, so that he could go to Yah and say, look at what he's doing. I bet you that he falls to this temptation. And remember, we learned that it's not Yah that tempts us, but it's when we are drawn away and enticed by our own what? Lust. That's in James. Read it for yourself. Look what it says right here. And he said, and they are overcome. They overcame him by the blood of what? The Lamb. And by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto death. They didn't love what their desires more than they love Yah. And so when the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, the thief comes but to do what? Steal, kill, and destroy. Hasatan was a liar from the beginning, a murderer from the beginning. This is what John says in John. Let's go. First John chapter 1. 1 John chapter 3. 1 John chapter 3. Verse 8. Look what it says. He that commits sin is of the devil, for the devil sins from the beginning. For this purpose the Son of Elohim was manifested. Remember, we are overcome by what? The blood of the Lamb. For this purpose, he was manifested that he might destroy the works of the devil. The works of the devil. What are the works of the devil? To deceive the whole nations. Deceive the whole world. And now look, let's look somewhere else where it talks about that. St. John. Go back to John chapter 8. We're going to stay in these Johns real quick because the apostle knows what he's talking about. Why is that? Because the apostle was accused many a time before the Father. The apostle was knocked down. He was even cast into an iron, to be boiled. And still lived, and they had to send him out to Patmos. This is where he had the revelation. Kaizen. Let's look what it said. John. St. John chapter 8, verse 44. Look what it said. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a what? Murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth. How was he a murderer from the beginning? Because he killed the relationship with Adam and Eve that they had with Yah. Now I want to tell you something. If the person that walked with Yah right there face to face, was manifest with Yah, named all the animals, was given the wisdom to be able to do all this stuff, was able to be deceived. Think about that. They only had one commandment. That's right. That was to guard the Garden of Eden. That's right. To protect it. So therefore they shouldn't even been near the tree, but he deceived them. He deceived them and was a murderer from the beginning. Look what else he saw. And listen to who he's talking to. Now he's talking to those Pharisees, those hypocrites. And so when you fall up under that spirit of the hypocrite, those that are in the churches hooping and hollering and screaming and doing everything for no reason just to get a dollar bill. Look what he's saying right here. He said he was a murderer from the beginning, abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaks a lie, he speaks his own language. For he is a liar and the father of it. You see that? Yeah. He is a liar and the father of it. Let's look at something else in Acts. What happened right in Acts? You have a man named Hananiah. Now, the people started giving away their property and doing all this stuff. And then this man turned around. He gave away his property. But because he want to hold on, because his desire decided to step in, he lied instead of just being honest and saying, hey, I kept a third for myself. And when he lied, the Holy Spirit struck him down. Why is that? Because you can't claim to be clean and holy before Yah and righteous, and then come before him and then sit up there and think that your heart is going to tell everything. So if you think it's going to be by your appearance, how you look when you get there, nope. If you think mama going to be able to step in, nope. If you think that daddy going to be able to step in, nope. If you think your preacher, your teacher, your apostle, your evangelist, your prophet going to be able to step in, nope. Why? Because 9 times out of 10, if they're living righteous lives, they're gonna go before Yah on your behalf, seeking what? Petition. But listen, if you decide to continue to be a son of Belial, that's another name of Hasatan. If you decide to be evil and your dwellings and what you're doing, then guess what? It ain't gonna be able to pass before his eyesight. You ain't going to be able to, because he's going to tell you, depart from me. Depart from me. I never knew you. I don't care what you claim that you're doing inside of the buildings and what you claim that you're doing out there when you are gathering funds. Because, see, I'm going to break something down to you about Hasatan, how he comes and masquerades as an angel of light. Even his ministers, it say, can't transform themselves. Let's look what Ananias did, though. In Acts chapter 5, verse 3. Because this is going to show that Hasatan has entered in, and same way he did Judas. Same way he did Judas. Entered in. Why? Because his own selfish desire. But Kepha said, Ananias, why has Satan filled your heart to lie to the Holy Spirit and to keep back part of the price of the land? While it remained, was it not your own? He asked him this question. Was it not your own? And after it was sold, was it not in your own power? Why have you conceived this thing in your heart? You have not lied unto men. Listen to this, but you have lied unto Yah. And so when you think that you're going before your leader or whoever it is, you telling them whatever, hey, you can tell them whatever you want, but guess what? Your heart is gonna expel or show who you are before Yah. It's going to show who you are before Yah. It's going to show who you are before Yah. And that's why you have to be careful, because Hasatan is a pretender. And there's no reason to lie. That, like Peter said, that was in your own power. Can you stop that? It was in your own power. You didn't have to lie about it. All you had to do was say, hey, I'm keeping a portion of my property's earnings. That's all you had to do. And still give whatever you were going to give. But instead, you decided to lie. You decided to lie. And so that's why we have to be careful when Hasatan is moving. Why? Because if you look at 1 Peter, this is why Peter says this in 1 Peter chapter 5. 1 Peter chapter 5, verses 8 and 9. Look what he said. He said, be sober and be vigilant, because your adversary, or because Satan the devil, as a roaring lion, walks about seeking whom he may devour. Look at this though. Whom resist steadfast in the belief, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. But Yahuwah of all grace, who have called us unto his eternal glory by Mashiach Yahusha, after that ye have suffered a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, and settle you. So look at the main part of that. Be sober, be vigilant, be watchful. Keep your eyes open. Be in prayer. Have temperance. Know your surroundings. Right? And I'm talking about the spiritual realm. Now, I ain't talking about knowing your surroundings, watching your back, but you need to be watching your back. Because Hasatan knows, listen. Hasatan knows and can see who is anointed of Yah. Huh? Didn't he do it with Abraham? He did it with Abraham. He went and told, he said, look, I think that he looked like he loved his son more than he loved you. Look at this. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walks about seeking whom he may. That means, guess what? May being the operative word there. Let's look up. And one thing I like to do is I like to put what an actual word may mean, because that word may, it can be used in plural form, right? It can be used in the present or singular or in a plural form. But may meaning to have permission. That means that you gave him permission to deceive you. Why? Because you chose. It means to indicate possibility or probability that you may be right? But there's a possibility that you can still be wrong. So that's what you have to be careful of. That word may is letting us know. It also means a function to express a wish or desire, especially in prayer. Oh, this is the thing I want you to realize. If you already ain't walking before y'all, you begin to pray about stuff and stuff start falling in your lap and you consider it a blessing, you better be careful, because it might just be a curse. Come on. Because Hasatan can give you things too. Did he not tell Yahusha, if you but bow to me, I'll give you all the kingdoms? He's the prince of this world. He can give you worldly things. If you want money, he can give you that. You want a rapping career, he can give you that. Come on. Because see, I want y'all to understand who this spirit is, how he works. And when you casting out devils, you ain't got to call their name. All you got to do is say, Satan, get thee behind me. Remember when Peter was trying to rebuke Yahusha, and Yahusha had to give him a quick rebuke? Satan, get thee behind me. He wasn't talking to Peter. He was talking to Hasatan, because he had to enter his heart. And sometimes we have to be careful, because Hasatan enters people's hearts. Right. We just read that with Ananias. That's right. Hasatan enters people's hearts to try to distract us. He enters people's heart to try to get us with his schemes and different things. Why is that? Because just like in the book of, let's look in the book of Job real quick. Let's look in the book of Job. Job, chapter 1. Job, chapter 1, verses 6 through 12. Now there was a day when the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before Yahuwah, and Satan came also among them. And Yahuwah said unto Satan, From whence come you? Then Satan answered Yahuwah and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And Yahuwah said unto Satan, Have you considered my servant Job? And there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that fears Elohim, and he can't stand evil. He eschews evil. Then Satan answered Yahuwah and said, Does Job fear Elohim for naught? Have not you made a hedge about him and about his house and about all he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth your hand now and touch all that he has, and he will curse you to your face. And Yahuwah said unto Satan, Behold, all that he has is in your power. Only upon himself put not forth your hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of Yahuwah. Now, the purpose of reading that, and I want you to understand that Satan to this day is what? He's called the what? Prince of the air. He's called the prince of the air. So he still is under subject to Yah until the time that he shall be cast into the lake of fire with the false prophet and the beast. Right? That's right. So Hasatan still has to report he still has a report to Yahoo. Huh? He still has a report to him. Because look at verse 5. And it was so, when the days of their fasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them. I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong thing. Verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of Elohim, listen to that, the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before Yahuwah, and Satan came also among them. So don't forget that he was a high-ranking angel for he was up there. Let's look at Zechariah, because I want to show you how no matter how close or relative that you claim to be with Yah, Satan is still right there. They're trying to accuse and attack you. Look, and he showed me Yahusha the high priest in Zechariah chapter 3. Zechariah chapter 3. Verses 1 through 2. And he showed me Yahusha the high priest standing before the angel of Yahuwah, and Satan standing at his right hand to do what? Accuse him. To accuse him. Forgive me for that, y'all. I thought I put my phone on silent. To accuse him. Look at that. And Yahuwah said unto Satan, Yahuwah rebuke you, O Satan, even Yahuwah that has chosen Jerusalem, rebuke you. Is not this a brand plucked out of the fire? Because Yahusha, not the Yahusha that was under Moses, not the Yahusha of the Messiah, that is the Messiah, go buddy, but the Yahusha that is of the line of the Levites, the high priest. That was to be ordained to move into that place as the new temple was being rebuilt as they came back from Babylon. I mean, if you do your research, you'll see that this Yahusha here was next in line to be the high priest. So therefore, as he stood there and what? Dirty garment? Yes. And they were about to be made clean? Yes. Hasatan was there to accuse them, but Yahuwah rebuked them. Why? Because he said this is a brand plucked out of the fire. Hallelujah. Plucked out of the fire. Come on now. And so that's why we have to watch out, because why? This joker been around for a long time. And let's look at how prideful he is, right? Let's look at how prideful he is. If you go to Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12 through 15. Isaiah chapter 12. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. How are you fallen from heaven, O Hallel? Meaning light bearer. That's what Hallel means, light bearer. How you have fallen from heaven, Hallel, not Lucifer. And in the King James version, it says Lucifer, right? That's not the right translation. The actual translation is Hallel, son of the howling morning. How are you cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nation? Look, for you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. Now, I want you to pay attention to something, because he gives you the description of all three heavens. Remember, Paul said he knew this man that ascended to the what? Third heaven. Third heaven. So look at this. He said, for you said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars. So the first heaven, the atmosphere. So because remember, he got cast down to earth. He got cast down to earth. And in his heart, before he got cast down to earth, he said that he wanted to rule over all three realms. Over all three heavenly realms. Right? He wanted to set his throne. So he was trying to make a fourth realm, heavenly realm, because he wanted to set his throne above Yahuwah, Elohim's throne, which is what? The highest of the heights. Look what he said. For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of El. I will sit also upon the mount of the assembly in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. He's going into the second. I will be like El Elyon. Yet you shall be brought down to Sheol, to the sides of the pit. He said that he set his throne above El Elyon. Over Elohim. Now look at this. And as we go into real quick we're gonna look at another form of the spirit of pride that this guy had. And Ezekiel chapter 28. Ezekiel chapter 28, and just bear with me on 28, because it gives a good description on this prideful guy. It gives a very good description on this prideful guy. So look at it. The word of Yahuwah came again unto me, saying, Son of Adam, say unto the prince of Sor, thus says Adonai Yahuwah, because your heart is lifted up, and you have said, I am an El. I sit in the seat of Elohim in the midst of the seas, yet you are a man and not El. Though you set your heart as the heart of Elohim, behold, you are wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from you. With your wisdom and with your understanding, you have gotten your riches, and you have gotten your gold and your silver into your treasures. But your great wisdom and by your traffic have you increased your riches. And your heart is lifted up because of your riches. Therefore, thus says Adonai Yahuwah, because you have set your heart as the heart of Elohim. Behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon you, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of your wisdom, and they shall defile your brightness. They shall bring you down to the pit, and you shall die the deaths of them that are slain in the midst of the seas. Will you yet say before him that slays you, I am Elohim? But you shall be a man and no El in the hand of him that slays you. You shall die with the deaths of the uncircumcised by the hand of the strangers, for I have spoken, it says Adonai Yahuwah. Now, Hasatan has used Leviathan to allow this man, remember, because we said Leviathan tries to work against the wisdom of Yah. Yeah. Right? And so he used the spirit of Leviathan, the king of pride, right? To attack this man and make him think that he was a God in his own eyes. And what was the first lie that he told Adam and Eve? They could be as gods as they eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So let's look, because now Yah is going to give a condemnation unto Hasatan, which is the king of Sor, right? Because technically, he's the ruler of the world. So if he allows them to become like the ruler of that land, he technically still runs that. He's just like a in the background, right? So look what it said. Moreover, the word of Yahuwah came unto me, saying, this is verse 11, Son of Adam, take up a lamentation upon the king of Sor, and say unto him, thus says Adonai Yahuwah, you seal up the sum full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You have been in Eden, the garden of Elohim. There every precious stone was your covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold, the workmanship of your tabrets. And of your pipes was prepared in you the day that you were created. You are the anointed cherub that covers, and I have set you so. You were upon the holy mountain of Elohim. You have walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. You were perfect in your ways from the day that you were created till iniquity was found in you. Listen, look at that. Till iniquity was found in you by the multitude of your merchandise. They have filled the midst of you with violence, and you have sinned. Therefore, I will cast you as profane out of the mountain of Elohim and destroy you, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Your heart was lifted up because of your beauty. You have corrupted your wisdom by the reason of your brightness. I will cast you to the ground. I will lay you before kings that they may behold you. You have defiled your sanctuaries by the multitude of your iniquities, by the iniquity of your traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of you. It will devour you, and I will bring you to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold you. Listen to that. Listen to that. So look now. He said, I saw Satan cast out. Right? He saw him fall like lightning to the earth. Let's go to that real quick. Luke 10 and 18. Luke 10 and 18. Let's look what he said here. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. But look at this. Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Nothing shall by any means hurt you. But look at this. Notwithstanding in this, rejoice not that the spirit are subject unto you, but rather rejoice because your names are written in heaven on the heavenly tablets. Right? So something we need to pay attention to is, hey, this joker still have access. He was cast down, and he wants to ascend his throne above the stars of Yah. His pride is still there. But guess what? He still also is an enticing spirit. Why is that? Let's look real quick. Let's look. And Jubilees, chapter 10, verses 5 through 8. And you know how your watchers, the fathers of these spirits, acted in my day. Now this is Noah talking to Yah. So he's asking them, look, these things don't need to remain here. They need to be sent into the place of condemnation. So remember, Yahushua said when they are cast out, they do what? Roam in dry places. So they looking for a place to dwell in, because they don't have no earthly habitation. So that means that place of condemnation has to be a place of weeping and gnashing teeth. Is separation from Yah, right? So look what it said. And you know how your watchers, the fathers of these spirits, acted in my day. And as for these spirits which are living, imprison them and hold them. And y'all hear that these spirits they are still roaming the earth. They still roam the earth, even though he killed the Nephilim and he killed the giants. Their spirits, because they didn't have soul, couldn't go nowhere. They didn't have a destination to go. They couldn't go. They couldn't go to heaven, right? They didn't have nowhere to go, so they earthbound, right? They earthbound. Shades. Raphael. Look at that. And you know, verse 5, second part. Imprison them and hold them fast in the place of condemnation, and let them not bring destruction on the sons of your servant, my Elohim. For these are malignant and created in order to destroy. What does the enemy come to do? Kill, steal, and destroy. They were created to destroy. And let them not rule over the spirit of the living. Listen, he's saying don't let them be able to have rule over us. Don't let them be able, because remember, when we give them authority when we drop our guard. We give them authority when we allow what we're supposed to be doing for Yah to be negated by what we want to do. We give them authority, right? So look what he said. Let not them rule over the spirit of the living, for you alone can exercise dominion over them. And let them not have power over the sons of the righteous from henceforth and forevermore. And Yahuwah Eloheinu bade us to bind all. And the chief of the spirits, listen to this, the chief of the spirits, Mastema, came and said, Yahuwah, creator, let some of them remain before me. Because remember, Hasatan has but what? A short time. He has a short season before he's able to just to go. So something that we have to look at is he was around. And we know that he was around because he was around the Garden of Eden when Adam and Eve got tempted. So let some of them remain before me, and let them hearken to my voice, and do all that I shall say unto them. For if some of them, now this is showing where he is in control over these powers and principalities, because he's the prince of the air. And even though he's the prince of the air, he's the ruler of this world. Now, not trying to give power to him, but I do want y'all to realize this, that he does have a form of power if you give it to him. That's just like anyone that's a slave, right? If you're a slave to sin, then that sin has power over you. If you are a servant of Yah, then what has power over you? The Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. So don't think that Hasatan don't have power, because he does. He has power to kill, steal, and destroy. Are you not listening to me? He has the power to deceive. He has the power to counterfeit. He has the power to pretend to be something that he ain't. Look what he said. He said, if some of them are not left in me, I shall not be able to execute the power of my will on the sons of men. For these are for incorruption and listen to that, leading astray before my judgment. For great is the wickedness of the sons of men. See, because it began to lead them astray already, right? And so he was saying, listen, even though they about to repopulate the earth, the sons of men's hearts they're gonna do it again. And I want to have spirits here in place to go ahead and lead them to their desires. Have anybody, if you have not read C.S. Lewis' Screw Tape, read that. It's supposed to be a fictional book, but when he wrote the book, it's on how demons have higher ranked demons that they have to go through. And so when Screw Tape is explaining his story, he's explaining how he sent to this Christian guy to tempt them, to lead them astray whenever he gets in a relationship, to cause them to cheat, whenever he gets in, to finance, to cause them to overspend on money. These are things that we don't recognize, but when we have a desire in our heart for wanting things, and we have a desire of different things, then these spirits have control over what we decide. Why is that? Because it just like it said, whom he may devour, or who he may, let's look at that word, deceive. Because if he's devouring you, you're being lost in the darkness. The belly of the beast. Let's look at it like that. So we see through what he's talking about here, that Hasatan is using these spirits or whatever. Mastema, Hasatan, Halel, right, is the father of these things. And so therefore, let's look, because Mastema means hostility, unfriendly attitude, bad actions, right? And remember, Satan means the adversary, meaning a difficult situation or condition, misfortune, or tragedy. Y'all see that? Let's look at Jubilees again, chapter 17, verse 15. Look what it says. And the prince Mastema came and said before Elohim, behold, Abraham loves Yitzchak, or Isaac his son, and he delights in him above all things else. Bid him to offer him as a burnt offering on the altar. You will see if he will do this command, and you will know if he is faithful in everything wherein you do try him. Look it up. There to accuse. Trying to sabotage. Trying to mess something up. Let's look now. Let's look, because we see back in Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. What did he do? He sabotaged. Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle, cunning, than any beast of the field which Yahuwah Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, yea. Now I want y'all to recognize something. And before I even go any further into this, I'll pop it up on the screen in a minute. But y'all realize that up in heaven there are 4 beasts 4 living beasts that sits around the throne of Yah, praising him day and night, right? So each one of them represents something from the animal kingdom. You had the ox, you had the eagle. So the ox is the beast of the field, right? You have the what else? You have the bird or the eagle, which represents the fowls of the air. And what else? Come on, love. What else you got? Oh, she gotta go find. And then okay, so you got the eagle, the ox, the human, the one that has the human face. So that represents mankind, and then there's one more. The lion, right? That represents the well, I said the eagle. The eagle, the lion, the calf or the ox, and then you okay, so you got the 4 but guess what kingdom is missing? The reptile kingdom. The reptile kingdom. And remember, he was cast down. And remember, it said he was the covering cherub. So these are covering cherub that sit before Yah because their faces are covered. And they sit around the throne of Yah. Full of eyes. Praising him day and night. And remember, he was the if you read what is it, Job 38, I want to say, where he talks about the creation. Is Job 38, 37, one on. Look what it says. Now the serpent, Genesis chapter 3. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahuwah Elohim had made, and he said unto the woman, Yea, has Elohim said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, now he asked the question, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye shall die. Now, I just saw in my Bible or my scripture where he said don't eat of it. I didn't see the rest of it. So, I mean, we can go back and read that, but I don't remember him saying the rest of the where you shall not touch it or any of that. So, but and the serpent said unto the woman, you shall not surely die, for Elohim knows that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as Elohim, lowercase God, knowing good and evil, or as God knowing good and evil, right? So as we look in scripture and we see these things happening, this is why Yahuwah tells us. This is why he tells us in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in Yahuwah and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yah, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles or the schemes of the devil. Yeah. Huh? This is why we are supposed to love. This is why we're supposed to have kindness. This is why we're supposed to be able to spread the gospel without any discrimination or anything like that, right? Why? Because let's look at it. Let's look at 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verses 5 through 11. Look what Paul is talking about. But if any have caused grief, he has not grieved me, but in part that I may not overcharge you all. Sufficient to such a man is this punishment which was inflicted of many, so that contrariwise ye ought rather to forgive and comfort him, lest perhaps such a one should be swallowed up with over much sorrow. Wherefore I beseech you that you would confirm your love toward him. Confirm your love toward him. For to this end, because see, when we allow love to come in and we allow Yah to reign in our hearts, then that we don't give place to Hellel. We don't give place to deception. We don't give place to Satan, the adversary, to cause us to be placed in that place of misfortune, right? That's right. So look what he said. For to this end also I did write, that I might know the proof of you, whether ye be obedient in all things. To whom ye forgive anything, I forgive also. For if I forgave anything to whom I forgave it, for your sakes forgave I it in the person of Messiah, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. You see that? We are not ignorant of his devices, meaning his schemes. the things that he does to try to overtake us. So we have to be careful. Why is that? It's because if you read 2 Corinthians chapter 11, starting from verse 3, right? 2 Corinthians chapter 11, starting from verse 3, you find out this. But I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety or his cunning, so your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is it. Listen, he said what Yah has, he sent this son. It's so simple. It's so simple. And it just follow being obedient. It's being a humble servant, right? Humbling yourself before Yah, resist the devil, and he will flee. For if he that comes preaches another, listen to this, preaches another Yahusha, preaches another Jesus, whom we have not preached, or if ye received another Ruach, which ye have not received, or another gospel, which ye have not accepted, ye might well bear with him. For I suppose I was not a whit behind the very chiefest apostles. But though I be rude in speech, yet not in knowledge, but we have been thoroughly made manifest among you in all things. Have I committed an offense in abasing myself, that ye might be exalted, because I have preached to you the gospel of Yahuwah freely? I robbed other, called out assemblies, taking wages of them to do you service. And when I was present with you, and when he say I robbed, don't look at it as what he's saying is he didn't go to them so that he can be here so he could be at Corinthians, because they were doing things that were ungodly. They were doing things that were Hellenistic. Go look up the Hellenistic culture, the way that they live. They were doing things. So he said, I have robbed. Basically, I kept myself from being able to go to preach to others the truth, to come back to you, because you fell out of line again. So when he said I robbed you, don't look at it what he's talking about. He ain't talking about taking no tithes and no offerings like what's happening in the churches nowadays. He's saying he robbed them of being able to give them the good news. All right? He said to do you service. And when I was present with you and wanted, I was chargeable to no man. I didn't charge nobody nothing. And you ain't supposed to charge nobody nothing. Right? For that which was lacking to me, the brethren which came from Macedonia supplied, and in all things I have kept myself from being burdensome unto you, and so will I keep myself. As the truth of Messiah is in me, no man shall stop me of this boasting in the regions of Achaia. Wherefore, because I love you not, Yahuwah knows. Basically, he's saying, because I love you. He's saying but what I do, that I will do, that I may cut off occasion from, listen, occasion, right? He may cut off compromise. Remember, interfering with the promise. That he may cut off occasion, that wherein they glory, they may be found even as we. For such are, listen to this, false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Messiah. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. Do you see that? Whose end shall be according to their works. Something that I want you to realize now is that Hasatan has people that sits in what we call high places, right? These are preachers and teachers and apostles and bishops and missionaries and whatever names they call them now, right? And apostles, there to corrupt. But listen to this. He said, if you preach any other, what? Yahusha. Any other gospel of Yahusha or Jesus in the Western culture, right? And listen, I ain't talking about changing the name. What I'm talking about is making him a product. Yeah. Selling and saying, like, doing what Simon did. How much do I have to pay so I can get this Holy Spirit that you have, so I can possess that power? Yeah. He said, man, do you not realize that you are of the devil? You can't purchase this with money. But yet people go in and they dump their money into churches and these big congregations, thinking that it's going to bring them fortune, because this is what they're being told. Yeah. And they're being preached another gospel. They're being preached the gospel of mammon. Huh? They're being preached the gospel of deceit. Yeah. Why? Because Hasatan has came in and he has deceived the whole world. And he has turned the church into the world, or the ecclesia. But listen, he has a small remnant out there. Remember, he told this to the prophet, Eliyahu, Elijah. Yeah. He said, listen, you just get up out of this cave. Right. I have 7,000 that have not bowed the knee to bow. Listen, even though it's a small remnant, he had those that have not kissed the lips of Baal and is willing to serve him faithfully. And I think the remnant, I think those that gather, those that come together, and those that pray together. Because see, just like Paul, we don't need to be backtracking, going back and preaching to the same people over and over again, telling them the same. And listen, I ain't talking about us that gather together. I'm talking about having to go to somebody that in the walk and then have to keep correcting them on the same things over and over. They say a fool is right in their own ways, in their own eyes, but a fool is bound in the heart of a child. They continue to do the same old thing, but they don't receive correction. Huh? So that's something that we have to watch. We have to know, and that's why we have to put on the whole armor, y'all. That's why as we walk this walk, as we continue to run this race, we have to recognize that this dude, man, he been around for a long time, and he is cunning. He is slick. Let's look at Revelation chapter 20. Revelation chapter 20. Revelation, because everybody keep talking about Gog and Magog. Now listen, that it is coming. It will happen, but it is a period of time and when it will happen. All right. So that's something that we have to look at. Let's look at Revelation chapter 20, verses 1 through 8. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on that dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more. Listen to this, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. A little season. Remember, he knows that he has but a short time. And I saw thrones. See, time in the spiritual realm moves totally different than it does in our realm. Right? So he knows that he has but a short time. He recognizes that he has but a short time. And when that time comes after he's bound for 1,000 years and let go, he knows that he has but a little season, a short amount of time to get it done. And I saw thrones, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness, listen to this, of Yahusha, and for the word of Yahuwah, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their forehead or in their hand. And they lived and reigned with Mashiach, listen to this, 1,000 years. So during 1,000 years, while Hasatan is bound, we will reign 1,000 years with him. But afterward, listen to this, afterward, watch this. But the rest of the dead live not again until 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Listen, blessed and holy is he that has part in the first resurrection. On the second death, on such the second death has no power, but they shall be priests of Yahuwah and of Mashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. Listen to this. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is the sand of the sea. The number of whom, which is the sand of the sea. So we have to be careful. We have to watch that. Why is that? Because it says that he will go and deceive the whole world. Why is that? Because he's still the spirit of deception. He controls the lying spirit. He controls the Jezebel spirit. He controls, because the lying spirit is the enticing spirit, the seducing spirit. Let's look at it real quick. Let's look at something. In 2 Chronicles chapter 18, verse 19. 1 Chronicles chapter 18, verse 19. Look. And Yahuwah said, who shall entice Ahab, king of Yasharal, that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead. Now, Ahab was trying to get Ramoth Gilead back. So you need to go back and read the whole thing where you see where Yehoshaphat and all of them got together and they were trying to go and take the Ramoth Gilead back. But look at this. And one spoke after this manner and another saying after that manner. Then there came out a spirit and stood before Yahuwah. Don't this sound like somebody that stood before Yahuwah and said, I will entice him, I will seduce him. And Yahuwah said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go out and be a lying spirit in the mouth of his prophets. And Yahuwah said, you shall entice him, and you shall also prevail. Go out and do even so. So even though Hasatan is the ruler of this world, guess who is the ultimate ruler? Guess who is the King of Kings? And one thing that I want everybody to realize is this. I want everybody to realize we have a king that is ruler over all. And no matter, and remember what we read, he said in 1 John that Yahusha came so that he could destroy the evil works of Hasatan. And so we have to remember this. Even the spirits, what? Fear. They believe, they fear, and tremble. Right? They believe, they fear, and tremble. Ain't that what scripture said? Ain't that what James said? Right? That's right. Let's see. Where is it at in James? All right. James 2:19. Ye believe that there is one Yah. You do well. The devils also believe and tremble. You see that? The devils also believe and tremble. So this is what's going to happen. One day, if you go to Philippians chapter 2, start from verse 9. Wherefore Yahuwah also has highly exalted him and given him a name which is above every name, that at the name of Yahusha every knee should bow of things in heaven and things in earth and things under the earth, and that every tongue should confess that Yahuwah is, listen to this, Yahusha HaMashiach, to the glory of Yah the Father. Therefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but not much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. For it is Yahuwah which works in you both and will and to do of his good pleasure. Of his good pleasure. So I want y'all to realize this. Even though Hasatan is the prince of the air, right? We're going to reprove these evil works. We're going to bring light to the darkness. That of every evil work that's trying to be expelled, and we're gonna continue to talk about how these unclean spirits, these evil spirits, are trying to make a rise. They just changed their names. That's all. Just like slavery called human trafficking, they changed their name, huh? Just like they did drugs back then. Now they call it what? They call it substance abuse. Come on, all this stuff. They just changed the names of it to try to hide their identity. Oh, what? They changed the name of who people? Yah's people. They changed the name of what? Slaves whenever they went into slavery, didn't they? Yeah. And it's the same way. Why? It's because they had to hide their identity as well, so they changed their name. So as this train coming to the station, I just want you to realize we have to stay on point and we have to watch. And be careful, because Hasatan, that deceiver, that accuser, that thief, he's always out roaming, seeking whom he may separate and try to move from having a relationship with Yah. Remember, his mindset is, if I'm going down, you going down with me. But Yahusha said, if I go up, you go up with me. So we had to trust in Yahushua HaMashiach, because he said, if you suffer with me, you shall reign with me. There are going to be things in this mortal body that you want to do, things that you're going to desire, but you have to be able to sacrifice that. Just like Yahushua HaMashiach sacrificed himself. And I'm going to extend it today. If you have not given your life to him, give your life to him today. It is of the most other importance. Yahushua HaMashiach died not only for you and brought you with a price, but he also died so that he could destroy the works of the enemy. What? The works that he tried to place in your life, the misfortune, the disaster, the tragedy, just like he brought in Job's life. But guess what? If you're a child of God, he said you can do everything to him, but touch his soul, because that belongs to me. So don't love this life.
That's right now.
Love the life of that he gives you. I mean, and in closing, I just want to give a praise offering. Hallelujah. Glory be to Yah. I thank Yah, and I pray that this message was a eye opener for some, and I pray that we learning and we get an understanding on how these spirits work, because they work through our desires, they work through our fears, they work through our emotions, and so we have to be careful of that. Love is not love is not an emotion. Love is not an emotion. Love is a commitment. Love is a conqueror, right? And so we have to be careful not to let our emotions cause commotion. Don't let your emotions cause commotion. So we have, because our emotions, the spirits can feed off of that and begin to be led astray, and we see who is the one that is over those that leads us astray. So just keep your eye on the straight and narrow. Remember, I love you. Yahuwah loves you. Don't forget to say thank you, Yahweh. Talk to y'all soon.
Torah, Amet. Torah, Amet. Tudaya.
This is a Cinema Beats production.
Now I can sit here and pray about things I really don't